Hola, hola, ¿qué tal chicos? ¿Cómo están? Espero que estén muy bien. Yo estoy súper bien. Hoy vamos a aprender sobre el pretérito, the past tense. So now we're going to be learning how to talk about things that we did in the past. Yesterday, last week, last month, last night, etc. So when we talk about the past tense, that tense is called el pretérito, which in English is we say the preterite. So here, by the way, yesterday I learned how to make memes. So I'm going to teach you actually how to say that sentence that I just said because we're learning about the past tense. So I'm telling you about something that I did yesterday. But anyway, here I went to makeameme.org. That's where you make memes, in case you didn't know. And I created this meme for you guys. So I'm using the preterite here. I have here first the word ayer, which is one key word that will let you know that this sentence is about the past. Ayer means yesterday. And then we have the verb estudiar, estudiar. So here we see that the AR ending became I or E in this case. And then I put here el pretérito. So in this sentence here, this little boy, este niño, is saying, ayer estudié el pretérito. He's saying, yesterday I studied the preterite. So e is the form that goes with yo. So that ending tells you that the sentence is about yo, I, the first person, and it also tells you that it's the past tense. So that's why these endings are so important in Spanish, because they tell you not only who is doing the action, but when the action is being done. And in English, you really can't get away with, you know, not using the subject pronoun in front of the verb. It wouldn't make sense, or it wouldn't sound right if I say studied last night. If I don't say I or you or we, you wouldn't know who I'm talking about. But in Spanish, that e with the accent, we know that it refers to I, yo, the first person, and you know it means the past. So yo estudié or just estudié means I studied. So he's saying yesterday I studied the preterite. And then in the bottom, we have the word ahora. Ahora means now. So that means the next sentence is in the present. And he's saying, y ahora sé. Okay, so you may or may not remember sé from last class or a couple videos ago. Sé from the verb saber. That's the yo form of the verb saber. We don't say sabo to say I know. That's incorrect. We say sé. So that means I know. So, y ahora sé cómo usarlo. Cómo means how. Not I eat. Well, it means I eat if you're using it in the context of eating, but here it means how. Cómo usarlo. And then usar is to use, and then lo is it. If you remember direct object pronouns, you know that lo is the it that would be replacing here el pretérito. So I know how to use it. So yesterday I studied the preterite and now I know how to use it. Okay, so let me give you a few words that can help you and figure out when a sentence is about the past. So one of them is ayer, which means yesterday. If you want to say last night, that would be anoche. If you want to say last week, es la semana pasada. If you want to say last month, el mes pasado. If you want to say last year, el año pasado. If you're talking about earlier in the day, like for example, right now it's the afternoon and I want to say this morning, like earlier today, this morning, that would be esta mañana. Okay. Okay, so let's see. These are the endings for AR verbs when you're talking about the past. So usar here is to wear. Now that's the infinitive verb, and you learned previously how to use it in the present. So to say I wear, that would be uso. But now you're not saying I wear, you're saying I wore in the past. So ya no it's not uso, now it's usé. And now there's an accent too. So when you say it, you have to pronounce that accent. So usé. So let's say yesterday I wore white shoes. So ayer usé zapatos blancos. Right now, today I'm wearing black shoes. So that would be present if I say estoy usando zapatos negros. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. Estoy usando, ing, estoy, I am. But yesterday I wore. So this is a different tense. This is the preterite, the past tense. What happened in the past. Ayer usé zapatos blancos, pero hoy, so I could say, but today I'm wearing black shoes. Pero hoy estoy usando zapatos negros. Hoy means today. Ayer means yesterday. Okay, so usé is for yo. Usaste is for tú. Tú usaste. So if you wore, I don't know, a black jacket last night, I could say usaste una chaqueta negra anoche. So that's last night. Usaste, you wore. So aste tells you that it's about you and that it's about last night, about the past. Okay, now for third person, él, ella, usted, usó. So let's say my mom wore a green dress last week. So usó un vestido verde, un vestido verde. I said last week, right? La semana pasada. Okay, so usó. Notice O has an accent, so it's not uso, it's usó. Why is it important to pay attention to the accent when you write it and when you say it? Because if you don't, then it could be confused with the other uso, which is like I wear in the present, right? If I say I wear blue jeans every day, that would be uso blue jeans todos los días. But this is, we're not talking about me and we're not talking about me in the present. We're talking about ella, my mom, she wore, so usó. This one is uso, I wear. This one is usó, ella, form of ella. Ella usó, she wore. So that's why it's important to pay attention to the accents. Now with nosotros, you may or may not have noticed already, but that's the same in the present and the past. We have the same ending, amos, for AR verbs. So how are you gonna know if the sentence is about the present or the past? Those keywords that we just went over, anoche, ayer, la semana pasada, el año pasado, el mes pasado. The context are gonna tell you if the sentence is present or past. Okay, this one I don't really worry about too much. It's only used in Spain. I don't use it, so I never expect you guys to learn them or know them. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to, for me, particularly for my class. Maybe for VHL activities, sometimes you will need to use them, but other than that, not really. Okay, and then usaron is for ustedes, ellos, ellas. So they were or you guys were, right? Okay, so let's see here some examples. Usé un vestido rojo esta semana. So that sentence is about me, right? Yo usé un vestido rojo esta semana. The next one, it's about ella, Elena. So ella usó, she wore, and then you can see here a purple skirt and black shoes. And then usamos, again, here you wouldn't know if that means we wear or we wore, unless you go to the end of the sentence and you see the word yesterday. So usamos gafas de sol en la playa ayer, not we wear, but we wore sunglasses at the beach yesterday. Okay, so as I said, nosotros, you're not gonna know present or past unless you look at the context. So in the first one, we have tomamos el autobús from the verb tomar, which means to take. It means we take. We take the bus to downtown every day. So that's something that we habitually do. We do it all the time. We do it every day. So that's present. But in the next one, tomamos el autobús a la escuela ayer. So we took, because we have the word yesterday. We took the bus to school yesterday. So in this sentence, we take. In this sentence, we took. Okay. Now, if it's an ER verb, a verb that ends in er, like the verb vender, which means to sell, here are the endings. So now it's not an E accent, now it's an E accent. So it's not vender, it's vendí. Vendí, vendiste, vendió, vendimos, vendisteis, vendieron. Notice that the way I pronounce the V and the B are exactly the same. They're not different like in English, V, B. No, in Spanish, they both sound like B. So it's not vendi, it's bendy. Okay, vender. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Vendí 3 corbatas rojas. So this tells you that the sentence is about me and I did it in the past. So I sold 3 red ties. Vendimos, okay, with the nosotros, the ending is not the same like with AR verbs, which makes it confusing for you to figure out if it's present or past, because the present tense of vender would be vendemos, right? That would be we sell. But vendimos with an I, that's we sold. So this one is, you can tell by the vowel if it's present or past. Vendimos 2 blusas anaranjadas. So that means we sold 2 orange blouses. And then the last one, el empleado vendió un par de sandalias blancas. So that's the salesman or the salesperson sold. This is conjugated to the form of el, third person, el. Vendió, he sold a pair of white sandals. Okay, now IR verbs, vivir, for example, same endings as ER verbs, same exact endings. So here is viví, and again, I'm not saying viví, I'm just saying viví. Viviste, vivió, vivimos, vivisteis, vivieron. Again, here it could be confusing present or past because in the present, we say vivimos, but in the past, it's also vivimos. So here the vowel doesn't help much. Let's look at some examples. So I actually lived in Barcelona in 2008. So this sentence is about me. Viví en Barcelona en el año 2008. And I also studied there. So let's add that there. The verb is estudiar. What ending do I need if it's an AR verb? Right? So, y estudié en Barcelona también. Yo viví y estudié en Barcelona en el año 2008. Okay, if I'm asking you, the question is, ¿viviste en otra ciudad el año pasado? So this is about you. Did you live in another city last year? And if you want to say, yes, I lived, let's say in Miami, you could say, sí, viví en Miami el año pasado. Or if you want to say, no, I did not live, so you could say, no viví en otra ciudad el año pasado. Okay, now this one is about my cousins, mis primos. Mis primos vivieron en Connecticut en 1999. Mis primos vivieron en Connecticut en 1999. So this one is conjugated to the form of ellos, mis primos, right? Muy bien. So here I have an example where we're using the verb vivimos or vivir in the nosotros form. So again, the context is what's going to tell you. This sentence is in the present because we have the word ahora, which means now. Vivimos en los Estados Unidos ahora. Right now, my family and I, we live in the US now. Vivimos en los Estados Unidos ahora. But let's say we lived in Venezuela last year. Then that would still be vivimos because it's the same form, but the context el año pasado tells you it's about the past. So we lived in Venezuela last year, el año pasado. So this guy here, he's saying, anoche no dormí muy bien. So anoche no dormí muy bien. Anoche, last night. Dormir is the form of the verb dormir. Dormir, to sleep. Now this is the yo form, right? The I ending. Now it's in the negative. So he's saying not I slept, but I did not sleep. And then muy bien, he did not sleep very well. So he's saying last night I did not sleep very well. Okay, there are also 3 different endings of verbs that have a spelling change, but only in the first person, so only in the yo form. So let's look at one of them. It's the verb buscar, which means to look for. Oh, let me use a different color. Buscar, which means to look for or to search. So to say I searched in the past, the yo form has a QU. The C becomes a QU and then the ending that you learned for air verbs, which is E. So busqué. But all the other ones, you know, you use the endings as normal. The C does not become QU. It's just with the yo form. Okay, so busqué. If I want to say I searched for you everywhere, so I could say te busqué por todos lados, everywhere. Te busqué. For you goes before the verb buscar, right? So I searched for you everywhere. Te busqué. Okay. A few more verbs that end in car. As I said, we have some verbs that end in car, some that end in gar, and some that end in sar. A few more for car besides buscar. We have explicar, which is to explain, practicar, y tocar. All of those have that C that becomes QU only in the yo form. Okay, so le expliqué el problema a mi jefe. To my boss, I explained the problem to him. Okay, I know it sounds redundant to say to him in front of expliqué because I'm already saying to my boss, but that's the way we say it in Spanish. We need to have both. Let's see, the next one, practiqué fútbol esta mañana. So I practiced this morning, meaning right now it's afternoon. So this was earlier in the day, in the past. And then toqué la guitarra en la fiesta. Here, I don't really need to know, to have a word to tell me that it was about the past because the verb itself is telling me. Toqué. Toqué in the present is, or tocar in the present, to play. When it's about an instrument, tocar. If it's in the present, it would be toco, right? But if it's in the past, toqué. Okay, so I could say toco la guitarra muy bien. I play the guitar very well. I played the guitar at the party. Toqué la guitarra en la fiesta. Okay, some verbs that end in gar. The verbs that end in gar, the G becomes G, U. So, and then the ending that you have learned. So I arrived. Llegar means to arrive. I arrived. Llegué. Llegué. All the other endings are normal. So, a couple more verbs that end in gar. Jugar y pagar. Jugar is to play games or sports. So, jugué al béisbol con mis amigos hoy. So that means right now it's nighttime and I'm talking about what I did today, earlier in the day. Jugué, I played baseball with my friends today. And then pagué la cuenta con mi tarjeta de crédito. From the verb pagar, pagué, I paid the bill with my credit card. Okay, so the G-U, the you don't pronounce the U, just the G. So pagué, not pagué, pagué. Okay, and some verbs that end in zar, zar, the Z becomes C. So for example, the verb almorzar, which means to eat lunch. Almorcé would be the yo form. I ate lunch. So let's say I ate lunch with my friends yesterday. Almorcé con mis amigos ayer. Okay, a few more verbs that end in sar, empezar, abrazar, y rezar. Empecé, I began. Empecé a enseñarles español el 10 de enero. Abracé a toda mi familia al volver de viaje. Abrazar is to hug, to embrace. So abracé, I hugged. And then rezar is to pray. So I prayed, recé. I prayed with my family before sleeping, before going to bed, antes de dormir. Ok, chicos, gracias por escucharme. I hope this was helpful. I hope that it gives you a better idea of how to use the preterite, the past tense. If you have any questions, of course, you can always let me know via email or call me and we can chat. Okay, nos vemos. Chao.